Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Roundtable Sports, fourth and forever, your daily NFL news show running Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. EST. And boy, I know that I speak for everybody when we say we missed all of you tremendously over the weekend. We hope you had a great weekend and you were prepared to discuss all of the late-breaking NFL news, rumors, and hot takes. TD, how was your weekend, man?
It was busy. It was a busy weekend, man. Nonstop, family, as always. But listen, we're on to another week and looking forward to making it to next weekend. Got a little fun planned. So yeah, welcome to Fourth and Forever. Let's get it.
Man, you know what? A lot to unpack today, and I'm so excited to get in with the boys. Richie, how's life outside of your washing machine fiasco?
Yeah, the washing machine flooded over the weekend, but it's getting worked on as we speak. So weekend was great. Went to a Knicks game, hung out in Manhattan, with the family and all that, and friends. Now we're here on a Monday, March 24th. The weather is not as great as I wish. I wish it was the sun out, but this is gray, clouds, rainy day in New York, and birthday is next week. So we're just figuring out plans and for all that and living the dream, man. Thanks for asking, Dan. Very nice of you.
Hey, man, you know what? The Fool's birthday is coming on April 1st, baby. Look at that, man.
Won't be able to make
Richie was born on April 1st, April Fool's Day. Very fitting, if you ask me. Very fitting.
I'll have to make the announcement live. I won't be able to make the show Monday because apparently I have a present that I don't know what it is, but girlfriend's taking me somewhere overnight Sunday, and I don't know where it is or what it is. It's a surprise, but she told me to call out. I'm not going to make this show Monday. So that's my notice.
That is your notice. Not going to be able to make it. Richie's girl is taking him on a little birthday adventure. I'm excited to hear where she
I have no idea where it is.
Oh, my God. All right, folks. Anyway, might as well get right into business. So the Aaron Rodgers saga continues. And from what we understand, it sounds like that the meeting with Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers organization went very well, according to several sources. Problem is that he still appears to be in zero hurry. I'm wondering, as TD has mentioned several times during this show, perhaps Aaron Rodgers, right? He is still holding on to what seems to be unrealistic hope that Minnesota truly wants him. But needless to say, the Pittsburgh Steelers are still aggressively pursuing him, right? Do we think that he's ultimately going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler? Is retirement completely out of the question for this guy? What are your thoughts on this, TD? Enlighten us.
This is all shenanigans at this point, in my opinion. First off, he needs to go ahead and contact the Pittsburgh Steelers and let them know he's going to be playing for them next year. I don't think he has the options that I thought he did last week. I think that this is it. The Giants already brought in Jameis Winston, and now on top of that, they're looking at Russell Wilson potentially. Nobody else wants you, Aaron Rodgers. Make your mind up right now. You know you're going to play football. You know you're going to be a Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's not make this the announcement. Let's not turn this into the shenanigans of announcing where you're going like LeBron did. It's okay. I think Richie will like that. But yeah, it's played out at this point. I don't even think we need breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers is going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's just make it official. Maybe Roundtable Sports need to send out breaking news. Aaron Rodgers signs with the Pittsburgh Steelers because it's happening.
It is happening. Indeed.
So why? Well, I mean, it's like, why are we doing this? Okay, you met with them. Everything seemed like it was good. What's the holdup? I think he just wants the spotlight and attention.
It's the spectacle, and so I'd probably have to agree with you here. I do think that he's made his mind up already. He's just going to wait for some elaborate moment. Please, go ahead.
Why is it such a big deal that Aaron Rodgers is making a spectacle? It's all about him. But there's how many other free agents that haven't signed yet?
What do you mean?
Stefon Diggs, Russell Wilson, all these other free agents that haven't signed. How come we're not making a big deal of them making their decision? How come? But for him, it's such a big deal.
So I feel like it's different.
It's all about him, and he's making it a spectacle. Like, I think it's
easy answer, Richie. Easy
so
answer.
I feel.
Let's hear it. What's the answer?
So I feel it's different because it sounds like Pittsburgh would sign the contract today.
Thank you. Russell Wilson is trying to find a job. Nobody automatically said, we want you when you come. That.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, he done already got the offers. It's like, hey, man, make your mind up. That's why, Richie, Russell Wilson's not sitting around like, should I go to the Giants or the Giants? He's not sitting around. He waiting. And the Giants are waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers does.
I mean, he just met with them Friday, and now we're like, he hasn't signed yet.
But you give it a week. But you already know what you want to do. I
just think everyone just loves to inflate this guy into this negative persona. It's, he's making all about him. It's just like, it's so lazy, man. And if someone's got to do it, I'll do it. I'll be the bad guy to defend that man because he's not even a Jet, and I feel like I got to do this because I just feel like it's such a lazy narrative. Like, here's Rodgers making about him. The guy's just freaking making up his mind on where he wants to play next year. It's that simple.
He only got one option. What do you mean make his mind up on where?
Whether he wants to play or not, bro.
He knows he wants to play.
What's the rush?
Really? Teams are waiting. Richie.
By the way, Brett Favre didn't sign with the Vikings until August.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe he wasn't on their radar till August.
All I'm saying is just whenever it comes to him, it's like it's elevated.
Didn't Brett Favre retire and come out of retirement? That's the difference, Richie. That's the difference. He actually came out and said, I'm retired. Then he came out.
Like, thank you. GTA's in the chat. Wah, Rodgers didn't decide yet. Wah. It's like these people don't know what to say, what to complain about. It's like, this idiot Rodgers, egomaniac hasn't retired, man. He hasn't made his decision. Wah. It's like, grow up, media people. Like, the guy's making his decision. Why do you care so much? That's my point. It's just hilarious.
Because it goes right back into this diva mentality he has.
That's what I'm saying. It feeds into the narrative rather than the reality. That's the reality. That's the point.
And so there's almost a part of me where I wonder if like he enjoys this. So now he's doing it because he enjoys it. Like he's just like, you know what? I really want to see the media freak out a little bit and just scroll through and just see them reach for headlines and storylines. It's people like Aaron Rodgers that keep journalists in a job during the offseason.
Especially Mike Florio. He has an obsession with Aaron Rodgers.
Mike Florio, one of the two. I do think that all of us are on the exact same page that Aaron Rodgers will be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Might as well just hit up Cameron to start making some Pittsburgh Steelers Aaron Rodgers merchandise because we all know that is precisely where it is going to go. All right. Next up, some of the other pending free agents out there, as TD has already mentioned. There are several names that have not signed with the team, and whether or not that maybe the recovery process is not going to be realistic until midway through the season or a variety of different reasons. One in particular had to be Stefon Diggs. He ended up meeting with the New England Patriots twice in a 2-day period, back-to-back days. And it sounds like conversations went well, but both sides are not ready to commit at this point. All of these talks have tended to stall. If you were to ask me, like when it came into the Stefon Diggs saga, it has everything to do with his unrealistic expectation that he will be able to play football on week 1 of this season. I know that we're seeing a bunch of clips of him working out already. News came out that he's running at full speed, way ahead of schedule of this ACL tear recovery. But to be honest with you, at his age, at 31, at 32, I am not surprised in the slightest. An ACL injury, it's going to take you a significant amount of time to come back, especially when you're over 30, on the wrong side of 30. If I'm a gambling man, I do not see Stefon Diggs being able to play football until week 7, week 8. And even if he does somehow end up squeezing in a couple of weeks earlier, squeezing in a roster spot as being a number 1 contributor, it's going to take him yet another 4 to 5 weeks for him to even be remotely close to where he was on a skill set level. And that's even considering if he will never be the same again based off of his age and his recovery process. I don't think that Stefon Diggs is going to be signed until closer to training camp. Dare I say even a couple of weeks into the 2025 NFL season. Thoughts on this, Richie? Why do you think the talks with Stefon Diggs has stalled with the New England Patriots and several other teams?
Because Diggs is a diva and he's taking way too long, man. Make a decision. Make a decision, man.
Well, he is a diva. He is a diva. I can tell you that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. He
man,
indeed is a
more
diva.
of a diva, bro. More of a diva. Take all the time you need, Diggs. There's some rumors that he's negotiating between the Patriots, Bills, and Jets. I don't see the Jets.
All right. Like, that's like the biggest head scratcher I have ever seen. We are talking about a wide receiver in an organization like the Buffalo Bills that ate $40 million in dead cap. We paid Stefon Diggs to not play for the Buffalo Bills last year, to play against us. That makes zero sense to me that we would want to end up bringing somebody back onto this roster if we were willing to take that much of a dead cap hit. He must have been a hell of a lot worse in that locker room than initially anticipated, because there's no way that any GM in the NFL would have taken that on unless it was his absolute last option. I'm not buying into that. I think that it's going to be New England Patriots enough.
He was great in the locker room in Houston. According to all, I mean, they loved him in Houston. They want him back, but they just got to see if the money is proper. I still think that's an opportunity. I mean, yeah, the Patriots is definitely, an option. They had a meeting, so that seems like the thing here. But let's be honest, Stefon Diggs is plan C and D for the Patriots. That's why they're not desperate to sign him. I mean, plan A didn't work out, plan B didn't work out, and now they got to figure out. I mean, they got Mac Hollins in free agency. That's it. And then, of course, they got the NFL draft. But the wide receiver position, the playmaker position, everyone cried last year, oh, Drake May's got nobody. He still has nobody, by the way. But I'm trying to say that. But now we're all of a sudden, the Patriots are going to win all these games now. They're the most improved team. I mean, who the heck is Drake May throwing the football to? So until they make that move, I don't know. So I think that's why the Patriots are not in a rush, because this was not their plan A or plan B. They're still looking at options. Maybe there's someone in the trade market. But if you're New England, you got to make a decision because you need help at the wide receiver position. And my issue with getting Drake May with Stefon Diggs is you need to bring in a receiver that Drake May can get a chemistry with in the offseason. You bring in Stefon Diggs, there's no chemistry to be made in the offseason. He's not going to participate in any OTAs, any training camp. So I feel like when Diggs comes back, hypothetically with the New England Patriots in week 5, it's going to take them to week 13, 14 to even get on the same page. So, I don't understand the Patriots at all as a destination for him. Just because they need a receiver doesn't mean he fits the system and what they need over there personally. But listen, man, if he wants to go to a team like New England, go for it. But I feel like at this stage of his career, go somewhere you can win. Go back to Houston, if anything.
So if I'm the Patriots, I am signing Tyler Lockett because you know that he's ready to play immediately, right? Just get him going in training camp. He's not going to be expensive. It doesn't sound like that there's a massive market out there for him right now, and then go to the draft. That is exclusively what they need to do. I do think that Tyler Lockett would be great for Drake May's development. TD, why did the Stefon Diggs contract discussions stall with the New England Patriots? Will he find a home, and where?
I still think that they're alive. They may have stalled, but the Patriots can double back here. I think I agree with you. Lockett would be a nice move, but if I'm the Patriots, why not go after both of these guys? Mm-hmm. I mean, look at the position that you're in. Both of them are temporary options. If you ask me, you should go after both of these guys and draft the wide receiver in the first or second round. And have 3 guys. This league is full of teams that have 3 wide receivers, 2 or 3 wide receivers on the roster that are good. You got to stop going into war with none. The Patriots are on the back end of free agency now, and they don't have anybody. You got to go secure somebody. And, you can't do this like the Buffalo Bills because Drake May is not Josh Allen. Yeah. At least we don't see him as being that yet. So, and Diggs did wonders for Josh Allen's career. So they need to double back on this and see if they can make this work. I think what it is, Stefon Diggs trying to get as much money as he can. And the Patriots, knowing that they have money and they've been overpaying, he tried his luck to and I think what it is they were in talks. They gave him a decent deal, and he was like, no, I want this. Well, we can't go that high. And he stalling them out, seeing if they would budge. I think that's what he's dealing with right now, because if I'm Stefon Diggs, I get it. That injury means you're not going to make a ton of money this year. But that also means you want to go get every penny you can. So that's what's basically happening right now.
We shall see. And speak of the devil, honestly, I just ended up looking at my list that I created on X, and about 2 minutes ago, the NFL ended up posting a picture of Stefon Diggs squatting.
Whoa.
Yeah, wow. Wow, look at that. With the chains, too. With the chains, man. He's listening to some Cardi B, too. We already know.
Tyler Lockett does, I do agree, makes a lot of sense with New England. That's a receiver from the Patriots I want to bring in. A veteran that you can trust.
Yeah, like that or Amari Cooper.
Yeah,
like that or Amari Cooper, one of the two. Like, really just somebody that can
Lockett is so reliable.
So.
That's the thing about Lockett. He's so reliable.
Yeah. But, I mean, hey, you know what? So they were big spenders this free agency. Maybe there's still a couple of tricks up Mike Vrabel's sleeve, if you will. But moving on, all right. This weekend did have its share of some breaking news, and something that the New York Giants did, which I'm not entirely sure if this is giving us a sign that maybe they're not going for a quarterback after all. Jameis Winston was signed to the New York Giants, and it's funny because like you would see this clip going viral while he was being a reporter at the Super Bowl, and he asked Saquon Barkley what team he should sign for, and Saquon said, you should totally sign for the Giants. I think he said that in jest. But here he is, and he signed a 2-year contract, $8 million. Sounds like that they're still in play for Russell Wilson as well. I think this is telling us exactly where the Giants are thinking about going this year when it comes into the draft. Are they entirely moving away from a quarterback in the first round of the NFL draft, skipping out on Shedeur Sanders, skipping out on Cam Ward, although that I think that he's going to be a Tennessee Titan already? What does this Jameis Winston signing mean to you guys? Is the Giants going to run with famous Jameis at the beginning, week 1, 2025? Richie, thoughts on the signing? What is their intention with Jameis Winston?
Famous Jameis headed to New York. Saquon Barkley called it at the Super Bowl. I think that Jameis Winston going to the Giants is a really good move for them, just from the standpoint he's a bridge. They need to get a rookie. It's cheap, 2 years, $8 million. I don't get the whole thing that they're still in play for Russell Wilson. That's where you lose me. Why would you bring in Russell Wilson if you bring in Jameis Winston? You choose between the two of them, not get them both. I still think they should draft a quarterback, even if it's not someone at the top, still in the second round, third, fourth round. The Giants are very interesting, man, because they are just in this weird quarterback purgatory, like a lot of teams. They're not the only ones, but they have brought in Jameis Winston to be the placeholder, or maybe they brought him in to be the backup. But who will be the starter? We shall see. I still think them being aggressive to trade up for Cam Ward is on the table. If Shedeur Sanders is on the board when they're on the clock at 3, that could be the pick, but maybe they don't love him enough. So a lot is yet to be seen, but a 2-year, $8 million contract for Jameis Winston. I know that Giants fans are going to love his personality. He's a great dude, and I'm excited to see what he looks like, but he's not going to do anything flashy with the Giants, and I think we can all agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, not unless like what they do is they really invest in that offensive line, but like you definitely know that he's going to throw his share of sixes, that's for sure, picks, if you will. TD, what does this move mean for the New York Giants?
It means absolutely nothing other than the fact that they have a quarterback who could be a bridge, who could be a backup, and who could be a starter. So this gives them the proper flexibility that no matter what happens in the draft, at least they can move forward. I think Jameis Winston is still up in the air whether or not he's going to start, or if he's going to be behind a quarterback, or if he's going to, just be in that mentorship role. When you look at it, it's a 2-year, $8 million deal. That's a very cheap deal, man. That's a really good deal for the Giants. and it'll make you ask things like, why wouldn't the Miami Dolphins go after Jameis Winston at that price? Better than Zach Wilson, at least that we know of, and only $4 million a year, which tells you they believe they can rehab Zach, but that's neither here nor there. But that's all this is, and this does not mean they're not going after a quarterback in the draft. If they move up and get a top quarterback, Jameis Winston is going to be a mentor and a backup to a Cam Ward or Shedeur. If they move up or move down and they get what's his name? Running a blank. The third quarterback that everybody, Jackson Dart. If they get him, then they'll battle it out in camp, and then Jameis Winston will probably start, and eventually Dart will get an opportunity. That's what this is about. It's not about, hey, Jameis Winston is about to lead our franchise to a Super Bowl or compete. He checks all the boxes for every scenario that they're in right now.
Mm-hmm. See, you know what? It's funny because we have actually had this as a trend on this show, that the Giants, at least from a head coach and a GM mindset, I think they're just gunning for an 8-win season. With Jameis Winston, if they did start him, would you give the Giants 8 wins with Jameis Winston as the QB, Richie?
No. Who would?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, let's be honest. They got nobody
he's not
around
an 8-win
him.
guy. You know,
they got nobody around him besides Malik Neighbors.
What about Russell Wilson? So would you give the Giants 8 wins with Russell Wilson?
No. They're not good around him. This isn't a team that's
the
good around the
Steelers necessarily good around Russell Wilson?
The Steelers are the Steelers. They win with anybody.
Yeah, this is true.
True. Okay.
He not winning that. Russell Wilson not winning that amount of games in New York.
You don't think so?
I don't have to think about that. It's the Steelers. It's Mike Tomlin. Let's be honest. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. It's going to be 9, 10, 11 wins. So, no, listen, Jameis Winston's not helping the Giants win 8 games. Not playing the Commanders twice, not playing the Eagles twice. I don't even have any faith that they can beat the Cowboys once. So, I honestly think that's 6 losses right there in the division this year. Yeah. So no, they have no shot. They have no shot.
Oh man. The Giants will not win a single divisional game this year, folks. You heard it here first. Regardless of who their quarterback is. All right. Anyway, moving on. And Jameis Winston, welcome to New York. It sounds like an old name, an old friend is trying to make an NFL comeback. And that just so happens to be Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill has been getting interest from the Minnesota Vikings. And it's funny because it sounds like Minnesota is still intrigued on bringing in a veteran quarterback presence, but not of the likes of Aaron Rodgers that would be competing with J.J. McCarthy, but somebody who could just be a QB2, sit back in case there is some sort of emergency. And that just so happens to be Ryan Tannehill. So I think my question here is, why did he go jobless last year? Why do you think, especially with all the quarterback injuries we saw as well, why did Ryan Tannehill go jobless? And do you think this would be a good move for this player to come in and back up J.J. McCarthy? Richie, Ryan Tannehill, why was he jobless last year? And do you think he makes a comeback?
He was jobless because he's not a great quarterback or a good quarterback. Yes, that is why.
He actually have actual reporting on why he was jobless, but go ahead.
Okay, you can go ahead, Mr. I know everything about Ryan Tannehill's personal life.
All right, well, Ryan, curious.
You wish he was in Miami.
Ryan Tannehill had 3 offers from teams last year. Ryan Tannehill decided not to play unless it was the perfect situation. He only wanted to play for a contending team in the right situation. He made that clear. He did an interview with Mina, whatever her name is. He did an interview, and talked about it. He's gotten offers, but he doesn't want to go in any situation. He only wants to play in a situation where the team is actually built to win because he can offer his best at that point. Ryan Tannehill's at a point, he done made a lot of money in this league, over $200 million, where he doesn't have to just come to try to get a job to be in the NFL. He's reached that point where he said he just work out, and if the opportunity presents itself in the right situation, he'll play for that team. Because I think he only wants a Tennessee type situation when they had the O-line, the running back, and the receivers, and a defense where he could actually be possibly seen in a good light. So this is why he remained jobless last year, because he turned down a few opportunities because the opportunities weren't right for him. This is his words in an interview before the season even started last year on free agency and why he hasn't been picked up as a quarterback yet. And I know this. I follow him. He's my Sam Darnold, Richie.
He is your Sam Darnold,
yes.
Ryan Tannehill. I did not know that he had some offers to come.
Yes.
So really what he's hoping
bad teams.
So really what he's hoping for is a good team, but he's like really relying on the starting QB to be absolutely trash. So eventually he could take over and be named the starter.
Well, he took Mariota's job, but I think it was, and again, I don't even know if it's to start per se. He just wants to be on a good team where if he is called upon, he can actually, make use of his opportunity and feel like he got a chance to do something special.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. And so,
yes, he would be perfect in Minnesota, by the way. He would be perfect in Minnesota. If Sam Darnold could win 13 games or whatever it was in Minnesota, Tannehill might go undefeated. He's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. I don't care what Richie come on here trying to cap about. He is a better quarterback. Point, period, blank.
No, he ain't.
Ryan Tannehill's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold.
No, he's not.
Oh my gosh, you done lost it, Richie.
I'll tell you what. So I take Ryan Tannehill over Mitchie Biscuits for sure.
Over Sam Darnold too. See, we want to count Sam Darnold's last season, so that we have recency bias.
See, I feel like Sam Darnold has a lot to prove to me this year. Like, dude has a lot to prove to me this year over in Seattle,
and he will.
Dan, before he did what he did with Minnesota this year, who would you have taken, Sam Darnold or Ryan Tannehill?
I would have taken Ryan Tannehill.
And before Ryan Tannehill's best season of his career, I mean, that's just like, that makes no sense, TD. All right, let's throw out Ryan Tannehill's best season.
Have you seen Ryan Tannehill in his best season with the Tennessee Titans going toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes and beating him?
But your point, TD, is throw that season out, just like we're throwing Sam's best season out. What are we doing?
I get it. No, I get it. All I'm saying is Ryan Tannehill's a better quarterback.
And all I'm saying is Sam Darnold's a better quarterback.
Ryan Tannehill is the one that was top 3 NFL history first 4 years of passing yards. I'm just saying.
I don't understand why the Miami Dolphins chose Tua over him, but
Miami Dolphins did what was best for the organization, rebuilt, reset.
Oh yeah, look where that got him.
Listen, if you ain't got an O-line, Ryan Tannehill ain't doing nothing for you.
That's why Sam's better, because Sam can move around the pocket, make things happen.
What was Sam's problem when they didn't have an O-line? He got obliterated. That's why they lost. Every time they lost, that O-line looked bad, and Sam looked like he saw a ghost again. So both of them got issues with pressure. Sam stays healthy with pressure too. Also,
Sam can also move and navigate the pocket and escape pressure and make throws on the run and pick up.
Ryan Tannehill is actually more mobile than Sam.
Okay, that's when we have to just say you're trolling.
I mean, Ryan Tannehill actually runs the ball. He actually does.
So does Sam. What are you talking about?
I don't know about that.
Sam has a 50-yard touchdown run underneath his belt. What is Ryan Tannehill's long?
Stop. Probably a 50. Probably a 50.
Oh, see that's when you lose me, man. You always in debates lose me with the most biased take. Like, at least be objective and some analysis, man. At least some analysis, man. You always.
Well, you know what, man? I'm very interested to see if Ryan Tannehill can turn it around. I am a sucker for a comeback story. I always am. And let me tell you what, I'm kind of curious, chat. Let me know. Will Kevin Durant score more than half a point this evening? All right, because that's exactly what you are finding over on Underdog Fantasy. They are giving you an exclusive pick just for signing up today. Of course, using our code RTS as well, and you could get up to a $1,000 sign-up bonus as well. As long as you use that code RTS when signing up, link is in the description by itself. This is the #1 fantasy app on the face of the planet. It's very simple. Simply just choose a group of players between 2 to 5, and this could be across multiple professional leagues, golf, hockey, basketball. As we know, baseball is starting here. Next week, I do want to say, is opening day. This is the #1 go-to app. I have Kevin Durant sitting at over half a point. That's just one of the specials that we can rock with. Will Luka Doncic go over 43.5 points and rebounds and assists, higher or lower there? Will Anthony Edwards go over 28.5 points, higher than 28.5 points or lower than 28.5 points? You can build the perfect group and ultimately end up seeing some solid payouts if you are correct. Now, obviously, we want you to play responsibly here, but when signing up, guys, make sure you do use code RTS, and that will give you that higher or lower half a point for Kevin Durant to include in your very first play, and then multiple other options. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy, and always feel free to screenshot your plays and let us know over on X, because all of us are regularly.
Kevin Durant at half a point, that's a guarantee.
Oh,
any player in the NBA that had a half a point is a guarantee, unless you're Bronny James. But any other player in the NBA,
I sniffed that one out long time
after. Okay,
hey, y'all better
unless you are Bronny James,
y'all picks.
Unless you are Bronny James, man, over more than half a point. Is there anything? You have delusional Patriots fans saying even Bronny? Let's talk about that one. All right, man. Moving on. The NFL draft is a month away. Exactly a month away. All right. April 24th will be the first round. I'm very excited about this. Hopefully, Roundtable Sports will be there in person. We'll keep you up to date on that. But you know what? I did run a little interesting experiment because I have been leveraging artificial intelligence quite a bit. So to help me out with my content, etc. And I asked Grok on X. I told AI, I said, based off of the sentiments that you were seeing on X, who are the top 5 players in the NFL draft, in this upcoming NFL draft, that are going to be busts, that are not going. I know. And you know what? Surprisingly enough, 5 players with the most people discussing on X as into why they believe that they are going to be busts. Here are the players. Shamar Stewart, an edge rusher out of Texas A&M, a friend of the show. I highly doubt it. He's going to be a stud.
I like him.
Both of the quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward.
Yeah.
A lot of X thinks both of those QBs are going to be busts. Jalen Walker, a linebacker / edge out of Georgia. Derek Harmon, a defensive tackle out of Oregon. Tet McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. And Will Campbell, offensive tackle out of LSU. Those are the top 7 most likely bust candidates according to the culmination of these takes on X. Richie, thoughts on the names I just listed? And are there any players that you think are getting way too much hype and are going to be absolutely terrible in the NFL?
So you said Shamar Stewart's going to be terrible?
They said that. This is according to what X says. I'm a big Shamar Stewart guy.
Where's X? Why don't you share your screen so we can see what
I will. I will, man. I will go on ahead and show you all of these players as into why they suggested this. All right? Look at that. So Shamar Stewart, they said, despite his impressive physical tools and athleticism, X users point to his lackluster college production, which is only 4.5 sacks in 3 seasons, as a red flag. And many argue his reliance on raw talent rather than refined technique could lead to struggles against NFL-level offensive linemen, labeling him a boom or bust prospect with a high risk of not translating into the pros. So
yeah, I feel like Shamar Stewart's an interesting one. I like his ability against the run and setting the edge more than a pure pass rusher. He's a power guy. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got a lot of confidence in himself. He's got a high motor, but his lack of bend and lack of athleticism in terms of a pure pass rush, I think, is where the concerns come for sure. And then Shedeur Sanders, of course, everybody's going to keep talking about Shedeur Sanders in a negative way. I think that Cam Ward is a very interesting first overall pick because Trevor Lawrence did not live up to the hype. Joe Burrow did. Kyler Murray didn't live up to the hype. I mean, you go down the pipeline. Who's the last first overall pick that got drafted as a quarterback that worked besides Joe Burrow?
He was the last one, and I would say really the only one.
Like Andrew Luck, but then he
Luck, but then he ultimately ended up getting hurt. And maybe Baker's got something to say about it.
Baker Mayfield.
Going into year 3, maybe Baker is going to be like, you know what? I'm going to show you.
It's rare that quarterback works on the team that got drafted, like that. When you draft a quarterback first overall, like, it's got to be your quarterback for the next 10, 15 years, and he's got to be good. So that's what Cam Ward's expectation will be. When you get drafted that high, you got to be able to take that team to the playoffs within, I would give it 3 years. If you're not having your team in the playoffs in 3 years, then either the team's failing you or you're failing them. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what Cam Ward looks like. It definitely seems like he's going to be a Tennessee Titan.
Okay. But who was on your radar for a bust? Like, who's a player like in this first round that you're looking at and you're like, this guy is about to be a massive disappointment and not translate?
Massive disappointment. It's tough. It's so tough because they're out there everywhere. They are littered everywhere. I feel like there's some prospects at the wide receiver position. Like Ted McMillan scares me. I feel like there's a lot of hype around him. I'm not saying he's a bust, but I feel like, they're hyping up his pro day 40-yard dash now. His size is unique. His physicality is unique. But I just don't know if he's worth where people are projecting him to go, is my point.
Yeah.
I think that, like, last year's receiving class had Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., Roma Dunze. I don't think McMillan is in that same category as prospects. I think I'm not going to say, again, he's a bust, but I just don't feel like he's worthy of getting drafted where people are projecting to get drafted.
So they're saying, right according to Tat, right here, it says that he's 6'5" and his catch radius generates hype. Some X-users express concern over his lack of elite speed and separation skills, which could hinder him against NFL corners. And critics point out his reliance on contested catches and question whether his college production will translate if he faces tighter coverage.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Because
that's Keon Coleman.
Yeah, I mean,
right there.
You can't rely on 50-50 balls and go up there and moss people. You got to get separation at the next level, and you got to be able to, separate yourselves with speed. If you don't have separation or speed, you don't really work out in this league unless you're just that's what tight ends are for. So I'm not saying he's going to be a bust, but I feel like people have him in top 10. Like, I don't see the Jets drafting him at 7, for example. Yeah. That's one guy I'll definitely mention.
See, I feel like you can have that right as your identity, and I think you can have a pretty solid NFL career with it as long as you're a role player, but definitely not a top 10 pick worthwhile.
Like, you know who's the example that makes it work? Who's one of the most underrated receivers this generation? He's going to be a Hall of Famer. Mike Evans.
Yeah, he does.
Evans, though, can get open. I mean, he's got that route running like on something, and he can break free. Like, that's your prototype that you want to replicate if you're a Ted McMillan.
But Dan, you said that's Keon Coleman.
Yeah, but so he was a second rounder. So
yeah, but he's the first pick in the second round.
Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, what? Like I always wonder that.
I thought he was a first round pick.
No, it was 33. He was drafted 33rd. I mean, isn't Keon Coleman his first year so far? I know you got to play it out, but technically he's a bust.
No, I wouldn't say so.
I mean, play it out, but definitely. I mean, he was your number one your main receiver, and I don't even think he had 600 yards then.
No, Shakir was the one with the most targets. He's number 1 over there, but he definitely needed to improve once he came back from injury because he was definitely playing scared, and we drafted him to be a 50-50 contested catch ball guy. His stats would have been aligned to about 750 to 800, say that he were to stay healthy and his averages were sort of applied into it. Me
And then
was never somebody that came out there and thought that Keon Coleman was going to be our wide receiver number 1 for the team. I always thought he was going to be a Gabe Davis replacement. And as far as him replacing Gabe Davis compared to before he left, it was really right in line of the production that we likely would have gotten from Gabe anyway. So this is the damn year. Dude, I know that we're not
a lot of receivers this year.
So I know that like we're not on sleepers right now. Dude, I think I found my favorite wide receiver in the draft, and he's going in the 4th or the 5th round. His name? Kyle Williams out of Washington State. Kyle Williams out of Washington State, folks. If you are unfamiliar with this guy, definitely go check him out. Has some of the greatest separation I have seen out of any wide receiver in this class. He reminds me of Stefon Diggs in his prime. Very excited.
So what's the problem? Is it his speed, not top end?
He's 4'4". He's 5'11". So like he's not
short,
like big. He's shorter, but like he runs a 4'4". His route tree is incredible. Like he carves up press man coverage. Like he makes DBs look stupid, like out there. So say that your team walks away with a Kyle Williams in the 4th and or the 5th round. Be very excited. He's one of my favorite wide receivers to consider. But damn. The draft, man. Listen, you know what, dude? Like, we can't let draftaholics have all the fun, like, with these mock drafts. I feel like we need to have an episode where we select each and every single pick in the 1st round. But until then, have to go on ahead and check out the pros on the network. And that just so happens to be Draftaholics live Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. EST. I think last week they ultimately ended up doing a 2-round mock draft with trades. It was absolutely incredible. As you can see, they did ultimately end up going through some of the picks throughout.
This was their mock draft that they did this last episode. Interesting. See, that's what the Dolphins do. Will Campbell. You know,
I'm good with that too.
They know ball, bro. Draftaholics, folks, live once a week on Thursdays. Definitely go check them out. This episode is there. It's a really fun show. We got Bro Shimo, who's a NFL draft expert over there on YouTube. Colby hosting it, and our Colts, Derek, creator, and Dose of Dion. It's a good show, man. It's a great show.
Wow. Excuse me. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to some other topics that we have. Speaking of the draft, Shedeur Sanders, right? Like we've already teased this when it comes into the NFL draft. We've discussed busts. We've discussed our anticipation for day 1 of the NFL draft, exactly a month away from now. And I feel like Shedeur is a very polarizing prospect. Some are saying that, yes, he's a 1st-round pick, and many others are saying that if he was not the son of a Hall of Fame corner in the NFL, he would not be a 1st-round talent. Thoughts on this, Richie? Would Shedeur Sanders be a 1st-round talent if Deion Sanders was not his father?
Be consistent, TD. Be consistent.
Oh, this is night and day. This definitely ain't no LeBron Bronny. Okay? He said Richie. So go ahead, Richie.
Yeah, I think what separates Shedeur is his mind for the game, but he's got to be able to prove that he has an arm that can stretch the field. And I think that's the biggest concern. He doesn't have the athleticism, the escapability as some other quarterbacks. He's a pocket passer, and you got to rely on a very good offensive line in order for him to thrive. So I definitely expect him to go in the 1st round. I would be shocked if he falls. I don't know, man. It feels like, he went to Colorado. He helped turn that organization, that program around. His dad had a lot to do with it. But of course, his name is Sanders, and he was brought up in that whole Sanders mold. So we'll see. I'll be shocked if he's not a 1st-round pick, though.
Shocked if he is not picked. TD, thoughts? Would Shedeur Sanders be a 1st-round talent if Deion was not his father?
Saying he'll be a 1st-round talent, the answer is no. If Deion wasn't his father, he wouldn't be considered a 1st-round talent. As a matter of fact, I'll go as far as saying he'd be considered a 7th-round talent. Why? Because he would have still been at Jackson State. He would have still been playing at a against lesser competition. But he would have had the opportunity, maybe if someone drafted him, to show that he can beat Tom Brady. And this is why we gotta stop sometimes just looking at the schools. I know that that's a weight in it who you play against, but there is some talent in some of these smaller schools that are just as good, if not better, than some of the top schools. And Shedeur Sanders has the talent to where he is a first round pick. But if his father was not Deion Sanders, he may have not have had the eyes on to see that he was. So this is a different situation, like Richie alluded to, the like LeBron Bronny situation. But there is some privilege here in the fact that his dad did what was necessary to put him on the stage to be seen so that people can see his actual talent. Right. So that's my thoughts on it. I personally feel like he is a first round talent, but if Deion wasn't his father, we might have not have known that. We might have just said, hey, he's a good quarterback in a smaller school and he balling, somebody should take a chance on him in the 5th or 6th round. And that's just the reality. That's possibly what would have happened. If he was graduating from Jackson State today, it doesn't matter if they won the championship in D2. If he was graduating from Jackson State going into the NFL, would we even be mentioning Shedeur Sanders first round?
It's tough to say.
We weren't saying nothing about him when he was at Jackson doing the same thing with less talent. So that's how I look at it.
That is how we look at it indeed. All right, so we have 2 more topics left. I think we only have time for one more. And I kind of wanted to pick this one out because it's intriguing, and we will save the final one for tomorrow. However, Joe Milton. All right, Joe Milton. All right, the second quarterback that the New England Patriots drafted last year appears to still be on the trade block, and the Dallas Cowboys are allegedly interested in bringing him in. I think that it's pretty clear that Dak Prescott is going to be the starter as long as he can obviously stay healthy. But I have to ask these questions here. Milton hasn't necessarily had a fair shot in the NFL. He did play very well against the Buffalo Bills backups week 18. And additionally, he also played pretty well during the preseason. Now, he reminds me a lot of a couple of different prospects. He reminds me a lot of Jalen Milroe, who's coming into the NFL draft, where he's like wildly athletic, is a great deep ball, a lot of question marks of like how he could translate against actual starting defenses into the league by itself. But is taking a flyer out on this guy, not as just a backup, but as a potential starter for, say, for example, the Browns or the Giants, say, for example, is it worth it? What is your belief system in Joe Milton? And do you think he will ultimately end up finding a new home prior to the beginning of the season? Richie, thoughts on Joe Milton, potentially a Dallas Cowboy?
Yeah, I think it's a good option for a destination. Is Trey Lance still a Cowboy?
Thank you.
Is he still a Cowboy though?
Yeah, that's the point. What is Dallas doing?
Yeah, I mean that's what I was about to say. Like, what is Dallas? If he like what's going on with that? I mean, they traded for Trey Lance for what reason? So are they going to trade Joe Milton just to be the new Trey Lance? Because the thing about Trey Lance with the Cowboys that I never understood is even when Dak got injured, Trey didn't get on the field. Like,
true.
That's my point. Like, you brought Trey Lance. Okay, you have Dak. You're not going to see what Trey Lance got. But then he gets injured.
He's a pending free agent. So Lance is a free agent right now.
Right now he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who is their backup then? Because Cooper Rush left.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. I think Joe Milton has a lot of upside in this league. I like his ability. The flashes that we saw from him in New England when he started, it definitely feels like he's got something. And if he goes to a team that can build around him and let him sit and learn, you never know. I think the Cowboys makes a lot of sense, not going to lie.
Trey Lance, man. Damn. That's a guy I feel like never got a shot in this league, dude. He'd really never get a shot. Damn. Thoughts, TD?
He never did, man. I don't know.
That's Joe Milton and the Dallas Cowboys. What do you got?
First off, Trey Lance must be just that bad. Team bring him in the building. First practice, I'll sit on the side, bro.
He's got to be that bad if Cooper Rush beat him out. Like,
hey, no, I'm not gonna say that because Cooper Rush ain't a bad quarterback.
No, he's not.
Cooper Rush not bad. Cooper Rush won some games, man.
Who's Dallas's QB2 right now?
I would assume is Trey Lance not under contract still?
He's a free agent.
Wow, then I don't know. I have no clue. But as far as Joe Milton, I guess that would be a good option for him. I just feel like the Cowboys, this is what the Cowboys look like they're trying to do. They keep trying to bring in these guys who they might have something. Can we find the next Purdy? Can we find the next Brady? Something that'll get us off of Dak eventually, because we can't go bold enough and draft a quarterback in a high round. So keep looking. Hopefully we can find one just like we found Dak Prescott. Hopefully we could get one in the later rounds or something that would eventually will take over because they play well enough in during the season in practice. But they striking out because they don't want to upset Dak Prescott. And it's just like the Seattle situation. They didn't want to move on from Russell Wilson at first, so they renewed the contract. 3 years later, they didn't want to move on from Russell, and they renewed the contract. 2 years later, hey, man, this ain't going to work. They finally got fed up. We can't figure out a way to win around you making this kind of money. That's what Dallas is going through right now. They're just not at that ready to admit it. They're not ready to. So that's why you keep hearing they bring in Trey Lance. They're checking out Joe Milton and guys like that. They're trying to find some little diamond in the rough. But yeah, bring him in. If Dak get hurt, see what he is. And I like it, but I would rather him go to a team that really needs a quarterback and get a Justin Fields situation. Really let him play, because you got to stop judging these quarterbacks that come in playing off of a half a game or one game, and all of a sudden you didn't show up properly. So yeah, you're not it. Sometimes it takes time to rev up, man.
Sometimes it takes, oh man.
The Patriots will regret trading him.
Him and Josh Rosen. Oh man, it's the what ifs of the NFL world. The what ifs of the NFL world. But folks,
what if the Jets drafted Josh Allen? That's a
what if. What if, man?
He wouldn't be Josh Allen right now.
I know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He would have just led the Minnesota Vikings to a 13-win season and got blown out in the wild card round, probably. If the Jets drafted Josh Allen. No, actually, so I'll be completely honest with you. If, for example, that the Jets did ruin Josh Allen, I do think that he would have ended up in San Francisco at one point, and he probably would have a Super Bowl ring by now.
What if the Bills drafted Sam Darnold?
Man, so
they'd be bad.
So you would be tuning in to Fourth and Forever right now, and I would be pounding the table for Cam Ward or tanking for Arch Manning at this very episode if that was the case.
Yeah, y'all would have been in purgatory.
My point is,
the happiest man alive.
My point is, quarterbacks, I think organizations make or break quarterbacks, I think, is something that we need to start talking about. So, could the Buffalo Bills turn Sam into a franchise quarterback? Just like Josh is for them.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Maybe. Will the Seattle Seahawks make it happen? I don't know.
Sam he ain't a franchise quarterback now.
Not yet.
Yeah. Hey man, watch out for Sammy D to go out and light it up in Seattle.
Dude, you got to get that Saratoga water, bro.
Dude, you know what? I like Saratoga, but I'm a Pellegrino guy.
But what about the banana peels and the ice water? You know?
I've been seeing that go viral.
That's what I'm referring to.
Oh, yeah, with the Saratoga water, like face plunge and stuff like that. Yeah, you got to
make a video. Do you know what we're talking about?
No,
that guy that's viral?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Do you, TD? Probably not.
Saratoga water?
That guy that went viral for his routine.
His morning routine. He wakes up at like 3:45 in the morning, but doesn't do anything.
Putting his
like
ice in the water or something.
TD, you gotta make a video like that. We gotta see Tony
putting his face in the
Tony Dow morning routine.
That would be hilarious.
A Tony Dow morning routine. I would love that. Right. In fact, I would actually be locked.
Those are a hit right now on the algorithm of X. So if you want to make it, people are hopping on the trend, bro. Danny, you should do it, man.
On the way.
Morning routine. Do that. I can do that, man.
You get up early, you have those nice quick cuts.
Yeah.
Dan Mitchell. And even make it where you set up a camera so like you show you like making a TikTok from the third person.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we could do that. We could do that. All right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Fourth and Forever, live Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. EST. All right, folks. If you are watching the replay of this episode, we highly recommend that you turn on bell notifications so that you can be a part of our live chat community. It's something that we have created and are super proud of, and we love interacting with the chat, seeing what you guys need to say for each and every single episode. And smash that like button on your way out. Richie, what would you like to say to the audience before we let them go?
Smash that like button. We appreciate you guys big time. Sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Link at the top of the chat if you guys want to help us out. And we appreciate the loyal people that make this a daily part of your routine every day at 2 o'clock, Monday through Friday. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place, as Dan Mitchell would say.
Stole my line. All right, TD, what do you got?
Yes. Again, a great show today. Thank you to everyone who consistently tunes in to Fourth and Forever. We appreciate the love and support. Come back tomorrow. We got an even better show for you guys.
We do.
And let's keep on building. Listen, we're almost at 20,000 subs right here on Roundtable Sports.
We're so close, man.
Amazing.
Dude, it is incredible. So help us reach that goal, folks. We appreciate you tuning in. And as always, we will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Deuces.
Yeah. Ow.